you was performing in 4, 5, 6 pieces of this evening. Maybe a difficult question, but which one you prefer the most of this evening? What's your favorite?
Well, you know, that definitely shifts depending on the type of evening and whether I'm like, you know, fighting with one of the solos or that it's really sort of smooth and then just like riding on a river. But in general, the last solo is something that I really hold close to me because it was something that was created on me, and it's a solo where I have a lot of freedom, and so it's about really being in the moment, and it's a challenge as an interpret to let everything go and to be in that moment where you're in the space, you're right here, and you're trying to go beyond your mind, and I feel that that's something that we are constantly trying to arrive at, and so there's never an end. It's never. Perfection is not something that exists there. It's really constantly in evolution, constantly shifting and changing and learning. And I'm learning as a human being in terms of like what it means to be a dancer on stage, what it means to be letting go of the mind, not necessarily worrying about different things, but just, again, connecting to something that's bigger than myself.
And that's the solo that you talk to the audience, you talk to yourself. Are the words different? And yesterday you said something else.
Yes, exactly. Well, it's exactly that. It's trying to let everything go, and then just.
So now it was about spinning. You mentioned something about spinning.
It's whatever. It's the thought that comes in, and you take. Sometimes you take a thought, sometimes you let a thought go, but it's to try not to think too much about that or to judge too much, but again, just trusting that somewhere through all of that nonsense, there's a sense.
And Phil, you are now more than 25 years a member of the company.
Yeah.
From 1995?
Yeah, exactly.
So, Janine, you was a former dancer. Which one of the fragments you saw this evening, what was your favorite?
Well, I have lots of favorites, especially in relationship to what you were sharing right now, because I think some of it is very precise.
Doe even goed in de...
Oh, sorry. Better? Some of the things are very precise, and historically our art form is about movement and letting go. So with your story behind what you were showing, you're already sharing, you have, as a dancer, you have to let go, especially when you're on stage. You cannot judge what you just did a fraction of a second ago. So sometimes you forget what you've done.
So you have to be in the moment.
Extremely in the moment, and then you well, that's another story, I won't go into that, but you were asking me my favorites. I'm very attracted to film, because film doesn't do that, you know. Film is it's done. It doesn't go backwards, doesn't go forwards. So the two parts with the hands and the face, I thought it's extremely well executed, plus the idea is very well done, because now you look at film and you can do all this technical stuff and everything, and yeah, you can also keep it simple like this.
Yeah, like real time,
Yeah.
and you saw all the symbolic things in all the two hands or the mimic of the face.
And the other two things is the girl with the four faces. which I think I get really confused because I'm trying to see where her neck goes. So is she now looking right or left? And then she does this in between. I'm like, oh no, she turned her face around. So
It looks like impossible. Eh?
yeah. And of course the babies, and there's so many things.
And I never realized that there was so much humor in the work of Marie Chouinard. So the love duet between the man and the women, that she's laughing and he's crying, and then he's crying, and they are never happy together. Is it because you are now dancing for more than 25 years? What is the difference between when you was a young dancer in the company and now you're a leading older dancer? What is the difference between?
Oh, wow. I don't know. That's a hard question to answer. In difference in terms of like where I'm at and how I live the work. Maybe, yeah. I mean, I think that at the beginning, when I first entered into the company, I was like, I was like, where am I? What is this world? And you feel it. It's like something that you feel in your gut, and you recognize, and it's familiar. It's something that you want, but that path, that distance to get there, to really inhabit, feels like a long journey. That's something that's far away, and that's a lot. It's a lot of work. And then I feel that where I'm at now, with the knowledge of that, it's something that is, it's closer to me. It's closer to my skin. It's close. It's here. And even though I'm still searching, that it's something that I feel that is more on me than something that I'm like, running towards, sort of thing.
And what are then the special qualities of a Marie Chouinard dancer? What are the special physical qualities?
I would say really individuality. Like you see that humanity that each person, each dancer is bringing to the stage, and that invitation that Marie has, she invites the dancers, their individuality, to come to the stage. And I think at first, when you're first in the company, you don't know who you are. Who am I? What do I have to bring to the stage? What do I have to bring to this work that's already incredible? And that's something that you develop, that confidence and that risk of trying things, of going, well, I'm this tonight. And I'm, that this is part of who I am, and I'm going to bring this, and this is what I'm feeling, and it's a real, I think it's a real risk.
And is it also technical, very difficult?
Yeah, well, you see the technique of, there's people doing point work, there's like all of that, the different sort of registers you have to adapt.
And the spine.
Yeah, and there's all of the like...
Can you do it?
Yeah, there's all of the movement of the spinal column that's all very connected, and connected to the breath, and connected to the organs, and then the space, and we're really working, there's a schooling, there's really a way of movement that's part of like that signature of Marie, and even just the hand gestures, the articulation, everything is articulation and connected energetically, connected spatially, and
you were smiling at her.
Yes.
It's just nice to see.
And how is it to see, as a former dancer, to see her doing this?
Yeah, because I recognize it when you talk, that your body does that. When you speak, that your body is used to speaking, and then suddenly you have to do it with your mouth. So it's yeah, it's for me, it's about 20 years ago. So, and I saw you 25 years ago, and we actually met because I was still dancing, and I came to the show. I think it was in Amsterdam, and I was incredibly impressed with the company, and seeing the company now with these dancers that, of course, are much younger, that have translated this quality you're speaking about now to in their personalities, because I think they're all very different people. So I like that very much.
And let's take the equality between men and women on stage. Is there a difference between the men and the women in the work of Marie Chouinard? Are the women maybe do they have the leading role?
Well, I think that a lot of also the work is coming from when Marie was a soloist. So before she had her company, she was also a soloist. So
For 12 years, huh? 12 years again.
Yeah, she was, I'm not sure for how long she was a soloist for, but she first started her career as a soloist. So Le Petit dans son nom, where there's the water and then the bucket, like that was a solo that Marie had performed. And so the roots of her work are her as a woman and as a female, and so that then moves through time. And this program has its specificities, and I think that other programs you're going to see the male body more, or you're going to see it sort of shifts. But I do think that in the earlier works, that presence of the female is predominant in her work, because it's her. And at a certain point, even in when she first started developing work on other people to have a company, it was because she was like, as a soloist, she was like, well, I have to be there, and then I have to be there at the same time, and then I have to be also, so that's where she was like, but I need many more people around. And
would you describe Marie Chouinard as a feminist?
In what do you mean, like in terms of that?
Like because the women are mostly using the men, more or less, so that they are the leading figures on stage.
Well, I don't know if that means that she's a feminist, but I think that she strongly believes in the power of women. She built her company in a very male-dominant world, that she and that voice, I think, is important for her. It's important to honor that beauty and celebrate that power that she definitely has a voice for. She knows that voice, so she can talk from that place. And I think it's another conversation to have and learn and develop with the men coming into the company and carving that and developing that voice. And she has done that in some pieces more than others. There's even been solos that have been developed just for a male artist. And then sometimes she flips that. Sometimes some of the roles that were made created on women are now being danced by men, and vice versa. And so there's also that. We're in another age, too, of men and women and all the in-betweens. And that conversation is very present today and in the company as well. And that needing to, at way back when, Marie, one of her most important solos was L'après-midi d'un faune, where she as a woman is being a man. And so that was something that was very vital for her. And now there's also the other the other side that's really important, conversation that dancers are needing to have too, that wanting to be different roles, not to want to not necessarily be seen as just one thing, but how can we be communicating many facets of ourselves? And it's a lens that you bring on it and that we're used to seeing, but how do we change that? How do we shift that lens and that reading, and that it becomes about energy and it becomes about communication and relationship, no matter whether you're a male or female?
And Janine, it's important. Yeah, and Janine, how important is it to hear that female voice stronger in the dance world?
How important is this? I think the female voice was always there in the dance world. I actually think that women were maybe more open towards the physicality of the body than men. And that's pure nature, because we have to give birth, sorry. I really think that's something, but I enjoy what you were saying, because nowadays the new generation of dancers or our children that are born in 2000, they don't think anymore so much around male, female. They're much more fluid. There's no discussion anymore. And if you want to discuss it, then they look at you like, what age are you born? It's very nice. I like it. And I also know other companies where it gets quite difficult, especially in ballet, where the male-female roles are very dominant, and they're beautiful ballets, but then dancers don't really want to dance in that way anymore. And then it's up to the choreographers that are mostly very famous, I won't mention any names, to break open the Pandora's box. It's like, how were we looking at that time towards each other, and which box did we put things?
And now you mentioned how are we looking. Let's talk about the last piece, the golden mean. It means the gulden middenweg in it Dutch. It's with the older ladies and the babies. Is it also in the view of the beholder what you can see in it? If you have sexual connotations, or that you have generation connotations, or the mask? Is it your mother that you're dancing with? Is the mask from yourself, from your mother, and the baby mask, is it you?
No, none of the masks are related to us. And all of that, those are excerpts of an evening work that's 2 hours long, where we have many different masks throughout the piece, like half masks, and even that, depending on what country we would go to, we would even have a section where we would be wearing the mask of the leader of that country. So the president.
On a naked body?
No, it was, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, that would be a bit much, but but no, so it's a piece where we are wearing masks throughout, shifting, like changing, and so what you're seeing tonight is that excerpt of something that is out of context in some ways. And so here we're just, there isn't necessarily a referential meaning that you read. So your reading is whatever you're going to be bringing to the evening yourself, and how you're, what that, and it's open for that. And that's one of the beauties of art, and in all of the work, and is that it's that, yes, Marie follows her intuition and her creative process, and then part of that reading is also this meeting with the audience.
So let's ask the audience. So the last 5 minutes of this conversation, is somebody who have a question or want to make a remark, please feel free.
I want to know, there is a few improvisations in it? Yes.
There is a few improvisation in
Yeah,
it.
like an open system, you know, that where we're in a universe, a very precise world with a precise sort of coloring or texture, and then within that we have like, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like we have our different possibilities that then we can mix up, like a jazz musician, or like a, you know, that you have and that you're playing with your elements, and that you're moving those around, and again being in that moment present, and that's where the art of being on stage and a performer and comes in.
And being in the moment, the petit dans son nom, the solo with the bucket and
Yes.
the pipi.
Yes.
Yesterday someone asked, oh, I don't believe it's real.
Uh-huh. Right. Well, I mean, yeah, sometimes, yeah. Right. People question because they go like, how can that happen? But it's real. And some evenings, you know, like it happens where a couple of times throughout the years, dancers have like gotten on stage and they haven't been able to release. And that's part of it, then it just carries on. It's like a little haiku. But it's also in terms of like, you know, that sometimes also there's the different rhythm that's being played, even with the P, that there's a control of like letting it that's part of it, and it's a dance. It becomes that dance. It becomes the being in the moment present and controlling the body and working the body, being in that connection.
You did it yourself also, that solo?
A long time ago.
Yeah. You saw her, yeah. And yes, today you was better than yesterday. The rhythm was better. Yeah?
Maybe, but I think yesterday there was a little bit of a technical difficulty that you weren't hearing as well as this evening. I think this evening we were able to hear more because there was a technical difficulty, and that happens too.
And it's a really female solo.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
Right now it is, and
Yeah.
who knows, one day.
Maybe one day we're going to
yep.
change that.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions? No. Then we are going to finish. Carol, this was the Dutch premiere of this evening. Now you're going to a next country, and then you're doing, what are you taking with you from Schietmacher to the next performance? What did you experience these 2 days here in Heerlen?
Well, wonderful, I think we just felt that there was, with the 2 evenings, we were able to give, and we received at the same time. Like, I felt that the audience was so with us. And even the 2 nights, the energy is very different. Tonight was more quiet, but still very present. And I felt that there was just such a welcoming, and as performers, it's a wonderful gift, because then we're able to abandon into something freely. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Janine and Carol. And then, of course, Schietmacher will have a lot of other welcoming companies here in the festival the next few weeks. Please look at the website. There's a lot of activities for families with different disciplines in the center of Heerlen, in Kerkrade, in Aken, in Eupen. So feel free to come another time. Thank you for your being here, and thanks to Janine and Carol and the company Marie Chouinard. Thank you.
Thank you.